Have you ever wondered why you're so intelligent, so quick-witted, yet success seems to constantly elude you? Ideas spark constantly, and your notebooks are filled with intricate plans, and everyone nods in agreement at your brilliance. Yet, months, even years pass, and you look back only to realize you're still standing in the exact same spot. It might sound harsh, but sometimes, with our very intelligence becomes our greatest trap. You're adept at analysis, precise in predictions, and profound in calculations. Yet, this often leads to a point where you never actually start anything. Your mind functions like a vast search engine, while your limbs remain in airplane mode. The paradox is that intelligence, by its nature, is a gift. But if misused, it can transform into an obstacle. You might grasp concepts faster than others, yet you're also more prone to getting stuck, trapped by overthinking, overdreaming, and underdoing. And so, instead of moving forward, you construct a gilded cage for yourself. It looks dazzling, but in reality, it only serves to keep you captive. In this video, I will reveal all the reasons why you might still be struggling to achieve success. Let's not keep you in suspense any longer. Ready? Let's dive right in! Do you notice something interesting? The more intelligent a person is, the easier it is for them to deceive themselves. You conjure hundreds of scenarios and dozens of pathways and meticulously analyze every conceivable risk. But the outcome? You do nothing, always feeling perpetually unprepared. For instance, imagine you want to start going to the gym. An average person would simply pack their bag and head straight to the gym. But you, the high IQ individual, spend an entire week researching whether to eat before or after, which weights are best, and which workout program is most effective. And while you're still Googling, the other person has already developed impressive muscles. This is what we call analysis paralysis, or overthinking. Your brain is so good it transforms every minor decision into a high-level mathematical problem. You fear making mistakes, wasting effort, or falling short of perfection. And eventually, that very fear leads you to choose the safest solution, doing nothing at all. Sound familiar? You believe you're meticulously preparing, but in truth, you're merely procrastinating systematically. And ironically, your intelligence makes you an expert at rationalization. You'll tell yourself, "I'm not lazy, I'm just conducting more research. I haven't started because I want to be absolutely sure." But ultimately, the result remains the same. You still haven't done anything. And this is the first dark side of intelligence, thinking more than doing. Success, however, only rewards those who act. So, if you find yourself stuck, it might not be due to a lack of ability, but because you've exhausted all your energy on thinking instead of doing. If in the first section you were caught in the cycle of thinking more than doing, here you'll find an upgraded version of waiting until everything is perfect. Intelligent people often set incredibly high standards for themselves. You despise doing things haphazardly. You want everything to be polished, precise, and beautiful from the very beginning. A new idea. Oh, that's great, but let me just prepare a bit more to make it perfect. And so you keep tweaking, deliberating, until the opportunity slips away entirely. Imagine you plan to start a blog to share your knowledge. An average person would open their laptop, type a post, publish it, and refine it as they go. But you spend 3 months researching the perfect template, the most readable font, and the most effective SEO strategies. In the end, you haven't published a single post, but you have a 50-page Google Doc on how to write a successful blog. This is a sweet trap, because you always feel like you're being productive. But the truth is different. You're merely polishing the facade, never daring to launch it into the real world. The most dangerous reality is that the world doesn't reward you for preparing perfectly for an extended period. It only rewards those who dare to start imperfectly, learn from their mistakes, and keep moving forward. They do, then they fix, then they upgrade. As for you, if you keep waiting for perfection, you might never even start in a lifetime. In essence, intelligence allows you to envision a perfect version in your mind. But if you get lost chasing it, that dream will forever remain confined to your thoughts. Intelligent people often believe that simply being smart enough will automatically lead to success. While this sounds logical, reality paints a completely different picture. Look around some of your friends, who were just average students, now have stable jobs and steady incomes. Meanwhile, you, with your lighthouse bright mind, are still floundering in a sea of unformed ideas. Why is that? Because success requires more than just intelligence. It also demands discipline, perseverance, and the ability to work with others. A diligent, patient person, though not as inherently brilliant as you, can still surpass you significantly because they consistently act, constantly try, with repeatedly fail, and learn from each experience. Meanwhile, you, intelligent as you are, tend to observe from the sidelines, convinced you already know everything, ultimately achieving very little. There's a harsh truth: the world doesn't care how brilliant you are. It only cares about the value you deliver. Intelligence that doesn't translate into tangible results is like a high-end smartphone with a dead battery. It looks impressive, but it's utterly useless. In other words, a high IQ is merely an admission ticket. But to stay in the game of success, you need much more persistence, adaptability, and the courage to get your hands dirty in reality. It might sound strange, but knowing too much can sometimes be a trap. People commonly assume that the smarter and more knowledgeable you are, the easier it is to succeed. But reality is counterintuitive. The more you know, the harder it becomes to actually start doing. It's like a chef with 100 recipes in their head who ends up unable to cook a single meal because they can't decide which dish is perfect. Meanwhile, the neighbor who only knows how to make scrambled eggs eats scrambled eggs every day, and at least he actually has something to eat. When you know less, everything seems simpler. Want to sell something? Just go sell it. Want to blog? Open your laptop and type. Want to hit the gym? Go to the gym. But when you know too much, you see a multitude of possibilities. Selling requires market analysis, blogging needs perfect SEO, and gymming demands scientific workout plans. You then spend months just reading, researching, and ultimately, no steps are ever taken. In essence, the curse of knowing too much is paralysis by analysis. You're caught between thousands of choices, countless potential scenarios, and your brain just analyzes, and analyzes. Until utterly exhausted, there's no energy left to do anything. Meanwhile, the more naive, less knowledgeable person just plunges in, corrects mistakes, and tries again after failures. And it's this very naivete that propels them forward. As for you, you remain stuck in your own vast repository of knowledge. In other words, the more you know, the more likely you are to sit and think instead of getting up and doing. And success isn't reserved for those who endlessly ponder. It's only for those who dare to take action, even if they have 10 times less knowledge than you. If you believe success is only for super geniuses, then you're mistaken. Success isn't a complex calculus problem. It has a surprisingly simple formula. So simple, in fact, that you might feel a pang of annoyance realizing you've been overcomplicating things all along. Here's the formula: success, talent, X effort. That's right, effort is squared. This means you can be talented, you can be quick-witted. But if you don't put in the relentless work, the result will still be zero. Conversely, you might not be exceptionally intelligent, but if you're twice as persistent as others, you'll easily outpace them. Imagine you have a brain like a Ferrari supercar, but your work ethic is as lazy as a cat basking in the sun. The result? The Ferrari remains in the garage, while your friend on a rusty old scooter outside is cruising smoothly to the finish line, simply because he consistently starts his engine and rolls every day. The problem for many intelligent people is that school came easily to them, and assignments were quickly done, so from a young age, they grew accustomed to receiving praise with minimal effort. Consequently, when they face real-world challenges, they lack the habit of diligent hard work. Meanwhile, average individuals have built their effort muscle from an early age, and that muscle is precisely the weapon that propels them to success. Think back. How many times have you had a brilliant idea only to abandon it quickly due to boredom, while someone else, with a perfectly ordinary idea, patiently executes it step by step, ultimately reaping the rewards? And you're left with only regret. Intelligence is a bonus point, but effort is the multiplier. And as you know in mathematics, if the multiplier doubles, the result also doubles. In other words, the formula for success isn't in your head, it's in your hands. Only when you commit to doing will results appear. It might sound odd, But the more intelligent you are, the more susceptible many become to a psychological trap, an inflated ego. From childhood, you were accustomed to being praised as the model child, big-brained, exceptionally smart, and gradually, that label of intelligence became intertwined with your identity. The problem is, once your self-image is so tightly bound to being smart, you develop one singular fear: appearing foolish. So, whenever a challenging task arises, instead of trying and accepting that you're not yet proficient, you choose to avoid it altogether. Not because you can't do it, but because you don't want others to see you fumbling like a beginner. Think about it. How many times have you abandoned a project simply because you hit a difficult patch? How many times have you intended to learn a new skill, only to give up because you feared being slower than others? In truth, it's not laziness, it's your intelligent ego holding you back. The irony is that these awkward, foolish moments are precisely when you truly grow. Everyone has to start from a clumsy, awkward beginning. Learning to ride a bike means falling, learning a language means mispronouncing, learning an instrument means hitting wrong notes. But if you don't dare to pass through that unrefined phase, you'll remain stuck in place forever. Clinging to the title of intelligent, potential-filled person without ever touching reality. Success isn't for those who protect a perfect image, but for those who bravely dive in, make mistakes, learn, and keep doing. True intelligence isn't about never making mistakes, but about recognizing them and continuing anyway. To put it playfully, an intelligent ego is like a designer coat. It looks chic, but wearing it constantly makes you fear getting it dirty or muddy. Yet, with life is inherently full of mud and grit, to move forward, sometimes you have to dare to take off the coat and get a little dirty, rather than just observing from afar to keep your outfit pristine. A somewhat blunt truth is that many people can solve complex equations, code like wizards, or analyze data at lightning speed. But when they step into a casual conversation, they completely shut down. You might eloquently lecture on quantum physics, but when normal communication is required, you seize up like a robot with a dead battery. And as a result, while your head is brimming with knowledge, your wallet remains empty. Because a truly successful career is built on relationships and connections, not just on the number of words you've memorized from books. We often dismiss casual conversations as meaningless. Talking about football, sharing weekend stories, or gossiping about trivial matters might seem like a waste of time. But those seemingly frivolous conversations are the cement that builds bridges of connection. Others don't need you to be smarter than them. They just need you to be easy to talk to. Think back, how many times have you proposed a brilliant idea, only to find no one receptive, simply because no one genuinely enjoys working with you? Conversely, there are individuals who aren't much smarter than you, yet always have a supportive team ready to assist them. The reason is simply, they know how to make others feel comfortable around them. The biggest weakness of many smart people is forgetting that success isn't a solo game. No matter how brilliant your mind, if no one wants to collaborate with you, you'll simply stand there alone with ideas in your head. Those who are skilled at communication, however, may not be as innovative as you, but they know how to bring others into the game, and that is true power. So next time someone invites you for coffee, with drinks or just some idle chatter, don't be so quick to dismiss it as a waste of time. Sometimes, with those very trivial conversations can open up new collaboration opportunities, a crucial partner, or even an unexpected career path. The more intelligent you are, the more susceptible you become to the trap of overcomplicating everything. You want to meticulously analyze everything, with always seeking the optimal formula. Even a simple task like planning to learn English turns into a full-blown scientific research project. In reality, with life doesn't demand such complexity. Successful people typically don't choose to complicate matters. Instead, they find the simplest ways to sustain long-term consistency. Want to exercise? Just 15 minutes of push-ups and a morning run. Want to read? Aim for 10 pages a day instead of buying a whole library that sits unread. Want to save money? Cut a small amount, but do it consistently. It might seem small, even meager, but it's this very simplicity that enables you to go the distance. Meanwhile, the intelligent person gets easily entangled in a web of ideas. They think too much, compare too much, and as a result, do nothing. Or start something only to abandon it after a few days because it's not perfect enough. Truly skilled individuals aren't those who craft the most impressive sounding plans, but those who know how to keep things simple enough to repeat consistently. Success doesn't come from a single explosive burst, but from small, consistent steps repeated regularly. In short, the pinnacle of intelligence isn't about making things complex, but about simplifying everything. In conclusion, intelligence isn't a VIP pass directly to success. It's merely a tool, and how you choose to wield it determines the outcome. If you remain trapped in the pitfalls of thinking more than doing, waiting for perfection, or hoarding all knowledge, then intelligence will only become a burden. But if you learn to simplify, build small, consistent systems, curb your arrogance, and diligently communicate, then even if you're not a genius, you'll go further and achieve more than many others. Success, ultimately, is a game of persistence and simplicity, not an IQ test. So, next time you find yourself analyzing countless scenarios without taking any action, ask yourself, am I overcomplicating things? And sometimes, with all it takes is one simple step, act now, write it down, or just try it. You'll already be ahead of countless intelligent people who are still just thinking out there. If this video resonated with you, don't sit there analyzing it further. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment sharing if you've ever fallen into the trap of thinking much but doing little. Now, put down your phone and go do that thing you've been procrastinating on.